What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Point Entertainment YouTube channel. This is your boy, Yarn Craig. I cover everything from NBA, WNBA basketball, all basketball in between, guys. So if it sounds like something you'd like, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. So this is my first video regarding the NBA season. I know I'm a little late to the party, y'all, but I'm here and I'm really about to start pumping this content like crazy right now. So again, go ahead and subscribe. And, I really want to get down on talking about the NBA today because, we got a lot going on, a lot of surprise teams doing big things in the NBA right now. Golden State Warriors are a bit better than expected, and Clay's not even back. The Lakers are struggling with Russell Westbrook, injuries, and this is a lot of crazy stuff is going on. We've seen the growth of Ja Morant as a player, and we've seen the uprising of a couple teams that have been bottom dwellers for a while, which brings us to our topic today, a team and a player that I believe that could take this team over the top. And I'm going to go ahead and it's like, I'm not even going to hide it. I'm going to tell you how to go ahead and look at my hat. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls today, guys. And we're going to talk about who I believe is the X factor for that team, for them to be able to make a deep run later on this season and in the postseason. So go ahead and get down to it. I think that it's not DeMar DeRozan who's balling, one of the league leaders in scoring, Zach LaVine doing his volume scoring thing as well. It's not Alex Caruso, the Caruso, who's in town, who is like the ultimate intangibles guy. Not him. I'm talking straight up about Lonzo Ball. And for those that don't know, Lonzo Ball is a 6'6" point guard with plenty of skill. He's been criticized a lot for being not aggressive enough, which is something that, I do kind of agree with. But he is the key to the Bulls being a very, very successful basketball team versus just a good basketball team. He's the difference between good and great for this team. And I'm going to explain why. But before I do that, just a quick little rundown of Lonzo's career before he got to the Chicago Bulls. So he started off being drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers 4 years ago, and he had a decent rookie season, but of course he had all of that hype behind his father, the big baller brand, the big baller himself. LeVar Ball pumped his son up and said his jersey's going to be he's going to be better than Steph. He's going to be the greatest Laker. He's going to be the best player in the NBA. Y'all know the whole shebang. And so he had a big target on his back, and I don't think he really lived up to it, at that point. But it was a lot. It was too much, especially for a young rookie coming in with that X on his back. And, you got your dad telling everybody you're going to be better than everybody else in the NBA. Second season with the Lakers, LeBron James came to town, and the youngins didn't quite achieve. They weren't ready to compete for a championship yet. But if LeBron's in town, he doesn't have time to wait. So those youngins, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball were shipped out of town for Anthony Davis, which allowed the Lakers to go ahead and compete for a championship and win the championship right away immediately. So with the Pelicans, Lonzo Ball did see some growth as a player, but at the same time, he was pretty much taken out of his point guard role by the head coach at the time, Stan Van Gundy, and pretty much put in a position where he was a spot-up shooter, a 3D wing almost, as they elected to allow Zion Williamson to grow his game as a ball handler. And Brandon Ingram, who had turned into an all-star at this point, to hold the ball more. And Lonzo Ball pretty much was regulated to being a spot-up shooter. But in the process of doing this, he did become a better shooter. I think he shot around 40% from three last year, which was, all things considered for him, excellent, because if y'all don't know, he had one of the funkiest shooting forms when he came into the NBA, but he's kind of corrected. It still looks a little quirky, but for him, it works. The other shot was around Sean Marion territory, so I'll take what I got now. So fast forward to the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo honestly has looked better than he has looked with any other team with the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls threw the bag at him, a 3-year deal for about $87 million, I believe. So congrats to him for getting the bag, number one. And then number two, congrats to him for really improving his game. So it may not necessarily reflect in some of his base averages that you look at when you look at points, rebounds, assists. Points, he's averaging 12 a game. Assists, he's averaging 4.5 a game. Rebounds, he's averaging right around 5 a game. And those don't jump off the page to you. They're a pinch under the numbers he was getting in New Orleans. But that would not be my main primary focus when looking at Lonzo. Look at his field goal percentage. His field goal percentage is still, it could still use some work. He's shooting about 42% from the field. But everywhere else across the board, Lonzo has been solid. He's averaging about 2 steals per game, which is putting him basically in the top 10 in steals. He's averaging, I saw a stat where he's the only player in the NBA to have 29 steals and 10 blocks. And I know we're only 15, 16 games into the season, but that's pretty amazing considering that you're saying that about your point guard and blocks, So that shows you his defensive prowess is like top notch. And honestly, he's talented enough to make all NBA defensive teams. On top of that, he's upped his 3-point percentage. This man is shooting 43% from three, I believe. I think it's 43%, which for Lonzo is amazing because when he came into the league, he couldn't shoot. So he's been able to provide an extra offensive weapon for the Bulls that maybe people did not think would be there. So he's showing that he's a well-rounded talent. He's being more aggressive with the basketball. He's driving to the basket more. He's shooting over 80% from the free throw line, which is amazing considering the fact that at one point Lonzo Ball was shooting 40%, 44, 45% from the free throw line, guys. So he's a player that clearly cares about his profession and has clearly put in the work to get better. Now, considering that Lonzo has all of these talents and he's the pure point guard that the Bulls probably have needed for a long time. The Bulls haven't really had a pure point. I mean, I don't know if you really count Rajon Rondo because he was kind of like a one and done guy. He was in and out, a few years back. But he's probably the first pure point guard that the Bulls have had in a long time. And I bet the Pelicans and Lakers are probably kicking themselves that they don't have Lonzo right now. He would fit perfectly on both of those teams. Honestly, with the Bulls, Lonzo looks more confident than he's ever looked. He had a triple-double game in the first week of the season. And even just last week, he dropped a 27-point game on his old team, the Lakers. And the thing that stuck out to me is he hit that three-pointer in the corner, and then he just like strutted off. He swagged it out down the court because talent-wise, he's got it. He's already here. Talent-wise, guys, he's already here. You heard me rail off the percentages. But when the Bulls, one of the things that the Bulls suffer in is rebounding, and our team is just a little bit undersized in that front court. On the wings, we're set, but the front court, we run lineups with Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan at the 4, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, and Alex Caruso. We run that kind of lineup pretty frequently. So for the simple fact that we're lacking in so much size from 3 to 5, from the small forward to the center position, a lot of teams are going to beat us up on the boards. And I think the Bulls are literally like bottom 3 in rebounding. So to counteract that, the Bulls are going to need aggressiveness, which they do pretty well. They're aggressive and they're efficient. I think they're a top 5 team in field goal percentage, top 5 team in 3-point field goal percentage. They don't take a lot of them, but they make a lot of them though, which is huge. Alonzo is a big part of that. Is he's a top 7, top 8 guy. No, excuse me. He's a top 10 guy now in 3-pointers made. Excuse me. But in all honesty, they need Lonzo. They need Lonzo to be aggressive because he's proven himself at this point, his 4th year in the league, he's proven himself to be a very efficient player. So go ahead and take some more risk on the court. And I know he has DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, who are ball-dominant players, but when he does have the opportunity to get into the paint, I think he should try to get into the paint more. Try to do a bit more finishing. developing a little bit of a mid-range game. Would that help him? You know, maybe a little floater getting in the lane like how his brother has LaMelo. I think that would be I think that would be awesome. I think that would be awesome if Lonzo developed a little bit of a floater game or mid-range game. You know, I think that would bump his scoring average up from, 12, 13 a night to 15, 16, which is honestly what the Bulls really need. They need they need aggressiveness all around on the court at all times, especially since they get hit and they get pounded on the boards. And Lonzo is the key because he's able to do literally he's able to do everything on the court. He's able to push the pace. He's 6'6", so he can see over the defense. He has great vision, so he can hit everybody where they needs to be hit. Now he's a solid shooter from 3-point range, so he has no reason to just pass the ball every time he touches it like he did in the past. Lonzo, he is the guy. He's the guy that the Bulls need. I'm not even going to say they need another All-Star. Lonzo is the difference between them being a first round exit and a potential Eastern Conference Finals team. That's the burden. That's what I'm putting on Lonzo. We know what DeRozan's going to do. We know what LaVine's going to do. They're volume shooters. Nikola Vucevic, he has down numbers. He's like 13 and 11. But we know those guys can put the ball in the hole. Lonzo needs to prove himself as a legitimate and consistent threat for the Bulls to be that real deal, guys. So that's my video, guys. I'm going to stop it right there. I don't want this to be too long talking about Lonzo. If you guys agree with me that Lonzo is that X factor for the Bulls, go ahead and comment below. If you think it's another Bulls player, feel free to say that as well, guys. And I think the Bulls got a shot to, the Eastern Conference, in all honesty, to me, is a bit open because Brooklyn doesn't look that crazy without Kyrie. I think Milwaukee can be had, even though Giannis is a huge problem. But I think with the Bulls' versatility, as far as just being able to score the basketball and actually utilizing the mid-range, I think the Bulls can go far. Now, if Lonzo can get in on that party, good luck to the rest of the NBA because Lonzo's literally probably a couple skills away from being a completely complete NBA savage player. So that's my video, guys. I'm going to stop it right there. I appreciate y'all checking it out. Comment, like, subscribe below, guys. Peace.